I'm about to show you every single Retell setting you have to know about to build fast, natural sounding agents. And trust me, there's a lot of settings. But by the end of this video, my promise to you is that you'll know exactly how to use Retell settings to make your agent great. First, once you log in, we're gonna look at all the settings in the Retell dashboard. Second, we're gonna build an inbound appointment setter agent, including functions. So we'll set up your Cal.com account and then your choice of Make or N8N integration. If you're still on the fence about whether to use Make or N8N, I made a whole video about it. I'll link it up above and you can make a decision. But in short, if you have no experience with automation platforms, I would just start with Make.com. Why do we need all these different platforms? A powerful voice agent is an integrated voice agent. And today I'm going to show you how to take actions during the call, which is called function calling, like booking an appointment. And also, I'm going to show you how to retrieve the data from a call after the call happened using both Make and N8N. As always, the Retell agent is going to be available for download in the school community, as well as the Make scenario and the N8N scenario. You can get them under Alejo's Resource Hub. You can activate your free trial today, and you'll get all the resources and access to our live sessions. My name is Alejo, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this beautiful community of amplifiers, both in YouTube and in school. I've been an AI engineer for 7 years, and I'm the CEO of Amplify Voice, where we build voice agents to help medium-sized businesses increase revenue. We've been serving clients for 1.5 years, and it is my honor to transfer all of that knowledge to you, so you can build your own business with voice AI agents. Now I'm going to show you how to create an incredible appointment setter, so let's dive in. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the dashboard and we'll get an opportunity to deep dive into each of these. First, we have the main dashboard, which is the agents. Second, we have the knowledge base. You can add files, you can crawl a website to use the information in the website as your knowledge base, or you can copy paste text. This is gonna come in handy later. Next, phone numbers. This is where you'll buy a phone number. You also verify your identity here to make outbound calls. I already did that, so I don't see the verifier. Retell provides batch calling. You just upload a CSV and your leads just get called. It's really, really cool. It costs 0.5 cent per dial. Very, very cool feature. Call history, you will be able to see all our past calls and how well they did. Analytics provides a more high-level overview of the calls and how your agents are doing, with some of the most important metrics being, was the call successful and what is the reason that the call ended. But there's a lot more than Retell gives you, and what you'll find useful in here depends on your use case. In billing, you can manage credit cards and payments. API keys is going to come in useful for future integrations. And webhooks are used when you want to send information to your backend, be it Make or N8N or maybe something else. And as simple as these few options look, Retell is very, very powerful, and you'll see why in a second. To create a new agent, you can import it, which is what you'll have access to by downloading the resource in the school community, or you can start from scratch and say copy paste a prompt. We're gonna focus on single prompt agents because that's where the most learning happens, but I am gonna walk you through multi-prompt and conversation flow, which both have their own opportunities and use cases that they're appropriate for. They might look flashy, but don't get distracted because the real learning happens in the single prompt agent. You have some templates that you can follow, that's okay, or we can start from blank using the prompt I'm gonna show you. Before we get into all the nitty-gritty and all the different options that you have, there's 4 areas that get your agent to an 80% quality. And 80% is usually good for making a live demo. So let's get you to that 80% as fast as possible. A couple of things to keep in mind is the cost, which is simply the cost of the voice agent, in this case 11 labs, and the cost of the LLM. You can see that for 11 labs, we're getting charged 7 cents a minute, and then for GPT-4o, 5 cents a minute. Similarly with latency, which simply means how long it takes for the LLM to hear what the user said, understand it, and reply back, which is somewhere around a second for this setup, will depend on your choice of voice generator, in this case 11 labs, LLM, GPT-4o, and then your transcription options, which we're going to look at in a second, which can add to your latency. We decide to put heavy emphasis on quality of conversation versus fast or cheap conversation. That's why we decide to choose slower, more expensive models and higher quality voices. Your choice of LLM depends on the prompt structures. For the prompt structures that I'm going to show you, it's a very flexible prompt. So you can use 4.0, you can use 4.1, you can use Claude and even Gemini 2.0 Flash. I've had good experiences with all of those models for that prompt, but GPT-4o is the one that I've tested the most. So we'll stick with GPT-4o for now, and here you'll see LLM temperature, structured output, and high priority. Temperature is correlated with creativity for an LLM, but also if the temperature is too high, it'll start making things up. So we usually want to keep the temperature really low for business use cases. Usually at 0.10, not higher than 0.2. But since we're using functions and lower temperature is better for function calling, we'll leave it at 0. Structured output also goes along with good function calling, so we'll turn it on. And this is a cool Retell feature, which is high priority for the LLM. So it's dedicated resource pool. It's going to be more expensive per minute, but it's more consistent latency. So I always have this on for production use cases. That's for LLM. Number 2, the voice. I'll usually go for 11 Labs Turbo V2. If you use 2.5, it's because you have a multilingual use case, but be very careful with your choice of voice, because not all voices sound good with V2.5, either the Turbo or the Flash. For V2, Turbo has a higher quality voice and more consistent voice, and Flash is just really fast. So it does depend on what you're going for. You can control the voice temperature or emotion, how evocative or how calm it is. And then you can also control the voice volume, but we usually leave these as defaults. So with Turbo V2, I really like the voices from 11 Labs, particularly Hope and Piper, which aren't defaults in Retell, but you can add custom voice by finding in the voice library. You can also use a voice clone, or you can use some of the voices that Retell provides, which they've created custom settings for, so they sound more natural. So I would recommend just using one of these unless you have found the voice that you really like, which you can add by looking it up. Hope, natural conversations. There we go. Bam. Save. And we just integrated a new voice into Retell. There we go. You can also use PlayHT or OpenAI voices. OpenAI voices I don't recommend without the real-time API, and PlayHT has its own nuances, but it depends on what you like. We have found 11 Labs the most reliable. Next is your choice of language. We're gonna go with US English today, but you can have multilingual up to 10 different languages, particularly these languages, or you can have an agent with any other language. Just make sure that your voice is compatible with that language. And you should be able to see that by clicking view on one of the voices and see that this voice specializes in Hindi. Well, you can look up the language or languages that you want and find that voice and then just enter it here. Lovely. So let's get to what really makes a voice agent special, which is the prompt. I'm gonna walk you step by step through each of these sections, so don't worry if you get overwhelmed. Number 1, you have the role. This is giving your agent awareness of who it is. In this case, the agent's name is Saya, it's 27 years old, and it's an AI agent for amplified voice. Next, and the most fun part, is the personality. This is one of the main things that can help the voice agent not sound like a chatbot, and instead sound way more human. So what are we building again? We're building an inbound voice agent that can set appointments. So let's give the agent that context. You're answering a call from someone who's interested in company name services. This is called a dynamic variable, and we can fill this in manually, and you can do this too on your end, or we can actually insert that dynamically right before the call happens. And I'll show you how to insert that information in just a second. Okay, the agent has the context. Now let's give it a task. What is the goal here? Well, the goal is to book a no pressure discovery call between the caller and Amplify Voices CEO Alejo, another variable that we can leverage. And just so you get the hang of it, see the CEO title. What if the call was getting booked with a different role? So we can say, hey, what's the role and who is the person? Keep in mind that this is not about you have to build prompts this way. I'm giving you hints about what are the opportunities with these voice agents. One of the opportunities with dynamic variables is giving that agent more flexibility. Moving on, specifics is what makes your voice agent more sophisticated and more powerful. What do I mean? Your agent's probably going to do a fine job if it just has its role, personality, context, and task. Yeah, it's an LLM, it'll do fine. But we're going for a lot more than fine, and these specifics are going to make sure that your agent is natural, it follows the instructions, and it completes the objectives all the way through. So first 2 things to learn about specifics is the information block, which is surrounded by angled brackets. we're going to be using these symbols to represent the information the caller has already provided. Then we have another symbol, which is the tilde or the wiggly sign, which are stage directions. Instructions you should follow but not say verbatim. For example, functions should always be used silently. For example, tilde, use the book appointment function, and then tilde again. The agent will know not to say this out loud. So don't try to remember all of these by heart, that's not necessary, but get a sense of what we're guiding the agent to do. Keep all interactions brief, it means don't ramble. Ask only one question at a time. We're also giving it some information, the discovery call, usually 20 to 30 minutes. Redirect detailed questions to the discovery call. Handle off-topic questions about you being an AI, like when people ask, am I speaking with an AI, with humor. Then redirect to setting up a call. So keep remembering what is your core objective. And these I'm going to explain more in depth when we get to the booking appointment portion of the flow. But in short is how to use those functions and what information you have to get from the user, like the time zone. But you also have to get the time and the date. So these pieces of information help the agent use the functions correctly. This is a dynamic variable that Retell uses, which is current time, and then you can put the time zone right after it. So that's pretty nifty. Finally, the last two parts of the prompt are stages and example interactions. Remember that word that I said, coherence? So we want to give the agent, hey, these are the steps you're going to take or the stages that are going to happen. And here are some example interactions of what that would look like. I'm adding the note to stages that each stage should be dynamic. It's not always going to follow step 1 and then step 2 and then step 3 and then step 4. Sometimes they're going to shift a little bit and that's okay. And this note adds more of that flexibility to the agent. So we have the greeting, ask what brought them to us and what they're looking to achieve. Number 3, based on what they talked about, offer a no pressure intro call with Alejo. And what do we sell? We sell voice AI solutions. So to explore voice AI agents could help their specific situation. When they agree to book the call, ask for their name. The next steps I moved around to make them simpler for you to implement. So number 4, when they agree to book a call, ask them to spell out their email. After confirming you got the correct email, ask for their preferred date, time, and time zone, then use the book appointment function. Confirm their contact details for the appointment. Once booking was successful, confirm their booking details. Number 6, once booking was successful, confirm their booking details, and then end the call on a positive note. Those are the stages that we're going through in this call. Your flow might look a little different, and that's okay. Just make sure that there's coherence, that the role and the context, the task, are coherent with what you're saying the stages are and the example interactions that you're giving. So let me show you that coherence in action. So the first thing that I showed are the greeting. Hi there, thanks for reaching out to Amplify Voice. I'm Saya, who am I speaking with? And very importantly, you can use a script if you want the voice agent to follow word by word and you have to say this and you have to say it with these specific words. And you would change this to script and steps to make it more what we call deterministic. But the types of voice agents that we encourage others to build are the flexible type. The type that will not just follow the script and read word by word, but will actually be able to handle objections well and adapt based on the flow of the conversation. So what are some opportunities? Remember those angled brackets that I showed you? Well, the caller R said this thing word by word. It's just if they share interest in voice AI. This is an example of what you could say. If they express some needs in the business, then you could say something like this. Maybe they don't even understand that they're talking to a voice agent. Okay, cool. So introduce them to voice agents. And as you see, the examples that we give it, coherence, are always flowing through to booking a call. So we answer their question, and then we go back to what is the objective and this prompt structure. And I'll let you go through the rest on your own because you have this agent available in the school link below. But this is what makes our agents so flexible. And the last thing that I like putting in there, which makes it more adaptable to different LLMs, is, hey, begin. You are now receiving an inbound call. This is not example anymore, like this is the real deal. Someone is interested in learning more about Amplify Voice. And with this prompt, you save so many headaches. Agents are not perfect, even when the temperature is 0, but I sorted out the science for you. Now it's your turn to add a little bit of the art. So how can you add what you know about your niche into transforming this voice agent into something that will resonate, particularly when it comes to stages and example interactions? And although this is most of the way to an amazing voice agent, I promised I would show you something else, which is the functions. And you have some very useful predefined functions in Retell that work spectacularly. And call, you can add a description to this, like this is particularly specifically when you need to end a call. We've used this before when there are some verification step for identity, and if they fail the verification 3 times, then you can end the call, or if you get to the end of the flow, you can end the call, but usually the agent knows when it's time to end it. So we can just save that one. Next, we were talking about booking appointment, right? Well, we can also do call transfer if your client is interested in that, or navigate an IVR. And you can even add your own custom function, which I show in depth in a 75-minute deep dive where I build an AI hotel receptionist that I'll link above. So you can copy all the steps from that video to create custom functions. What I think you should really focus on is mastering the appointment booking. We're gonna be using both checking availability in a calendar and booking directly in the calendar. But we'll start with booking on the calendar. When users ask to book an appointment, book it on the calendar. And now it asks us for some API key and event type ID. So if you haven't already, you can click on the link below to create your cal.com account. And these are affiliate links, so if you don't mind supporting our channel, it'd be great if you can use those. And you'll see this page, but you'll get the 30-minute meeting, 15-minute meeting, and 60-minute meeting. Let's say I click into the 30-minute meeting. The event type ID, you'll find right in the URL, and it's the only number that shows up in the URL. So I'm gonna go paste it in event type ID. Number 2, the API key, you'll find by going to settings and then API keys. I will add one and you can just call it test. Never expires, save, and you're gonna copy this into the API key. We don't want to be stuck to one time zone, so we're gonna let the agent decide which time zone is the right one by asking the user. The third and last step with cal.com is going to be going to calendars and plugging in your calendar. And that's how cal.com will know what your availability actually is, and that's how you sync calendars. So you'll see an option here to install, and you just connect your Google account, and that's it. So the voice agent will ask for the date, time, and time zone of the user, and then it'll be able to book an appointment. But what if that time is not available? You're gonna get an error from cal.com. You don't have to worry about what happens after the error. You're just gonna give the agent the flow. So if you get an error that the time is not available, use the check of calendar availability function. Now we're gonna fill these in a second. They're the exact same as before, but I wanna show you here how I explain that. So we're gonna go to specifics where we build that foundation of the coherence, and we say, if the book appointment returns the time is unavailable, use the check calendar availability function to check availability. You will receive many options. You should only offer 3 options max, phrase in natural human speak. So when, not if, but it's gonna happen eventually that the user wants a certain time and it's just not available. Then the voice agent is gonna come back, tell the user that time was not available, let me check calendar availability. Here are some options, all in one shot. So I'm gonna show it in action using the test LLM, which is my favorite feature from Retell. I love how they implemented this. You also get AI simulated chat where you can just build a persona that can test different aspects. It's not a single test, it's more an identity, a persona that pretends to be the patient customer, etc., etc. And you can make it more relevant to your agent. So I can make this a Mike who wants AI solutions for his mortgage lending business. But what I prefer doing is the manual chat. Why? Because it gives you certain flexibility. Let me show you what I mean. You can test several different branches for the agent. For example, who am I speaking with today? My name is Tom. And you'll see that these variables, it does not have filled out, which is interesting. I'm going to show you how to fill them out in a second. What are you hoping to achieve? Looking for a voice agent that can call my leads as soon as they come in. It's gonna, yeah, it should be asking for an appointment. He can show you exactly how this works. How does that sound? Yeah, I can do tomorrow at midnight. It's gonna come out without availability. Address, yes. Let's see how I would phrase it. Amplify voice.ai. Okay, just to confirm, yes. Wonderful. And just to confirm, you're looking to book up for yes, Eastern. Let's see. So it shouldn't be available because that goes outside of my availability hours. So it's running the function. Let me look into that. And it invokes the tool book appointment, and you can see all the information that it's sent. So got it. Let me lock that in for you, which is what it said here. And then you get the tool results. This is so important because while testing your agent, you can see exactly what's going on with your tools and exactly how the agent reacts and what it says to how the tools go and what the result is. So it seems Alejo isn't available at midnight tomorrow. Let me check for other options around that time. So he goes, got it, let me lock that in. It seems he isn't available. Let me check for other options. Uses the check availability and then returns no API key provided. So that's on me, right? It didn't have the details. But this is actually gonna allow me to show you the setting, the part that I love the most. So I have to go back to book appointment and copy these over because again, it's the same calendar. So let's see, event type, bam, bam. And we're gonna make sure that this is empty. Yay. Update. Check this out. So I'm gonna delete some messages and you're gonna see the exact same sequence, but with a different result. Let's say I say, Pacific time. So now I can run the whole thing again, check the function, how would it react if I was in Pacific time? How would it react if the user said this different thing? So the function is running. So now it's still gonna tell me that it's unavailable because that's not a time that I have available. Let me secure that time for you. It tries to book the appointment and it gets an error. And it goes, let me check Alejo's availability for tomorrow. And then it comes back with the tool result of the check calendar availability. And it tells me Alejo has availability tomorrow at 6, 10, or 11 a.m. Pacific. Which one works best for you? So that's how you can simplify the back and forth of booking an appointment, which can get annoying for the user. This is a way for the user to have control. The user decides this is the time and day that I want. But if it's not available, that's okay. Here are some other options. So this was like a charm, and you can delete messages, go into a different branch of the conversation. What are the important parts here? The important parts is that the agent understands when to book an appointment, when it got an unavailable slot, and then it can provide some availability that I actually have in my calendar to the user. And then we can continue the booking. This is one of the smoothest ways of booking an appointment. My strong recommendation is that you iterate and get better at everything we've looked at so far, particularly the prompt, which includes your agent being able to effectively use functions. But I promised that I would walk you through every single thing you need to know about Retell, so let's keep going. Next, we have knowledge bases. This is really interesting. I can click on add a knowledge base and I get the options of crawling a website, let's say my own website. I can add a file or I can copy paste text. Let's say I want to use my own website. It's gonna go crawl it, create what's called a sitemap, which is where are all the sites that are inside of this one website. In this case, we have a one-pager website and AV website. Okay, cool. You can have it auto-sync too, so as the content in the website gets updated, the knowledge base gets updated as well, which is pretty cool. So now when I refresh, the text will go away and we'll have a clean page. There we go. And now that I refreshed, I can see the Amplify Voice website knowledge base. It'll get added and now my agent will have awareness of that as well. It does add a bit of latency, not much. It does tend to check the knowledge base a lot, maybe a little too much. The decision to use a knowledge base depends a lot on your use case and how much information you actually need the agent to do, which is based on what you need the agent to do. Moving on, speech settings. Most of these guys, you're just gonna leave as default. If you really want a background sound, I recommend the coffee shop. But responsiveness, interruption sensitivity, I wouldn't mess with these, including back channeling, but I promise I would explain the settings to you. Responsiveness is how fast the agent reacts to when somebody is done speaking. Interruption sensitivity is how much other noise or human speech in the background can interrupt the voice agent while it's speaking. Enable back channeling is I can add some words, for example, so the agent says, or yeah, so the agent says while the user is speaking to show active listening. Generally, I like to have those on, but you know, that's very much preference. Transcription mode. I am the type of person that prefers accuracy over speed for voice agents. So I'd rather not get their name wrong and it be a little bit slower. So I optimize for accuracy. This is a setting that I've only seen in Retell, so it might be one of their deep ground fine-tuned models, but I'm not sure of that. I just found this interesting and it's a new setting. Boosted keywords. This is an amazing opportunity for you, for the transcriber, not to get confused as much. When you're doing outbound calls, you'll usually have the first name of the person. If this is an inbound call, you will not have the name of the person. But for outbound calls, you can plug the first name of the person into the words that the transcriber knows. For example, I can put the word AI in there. I can put other words like company names or industry jargon. So the transcriber that is listening to the conversation understands those words much better than it otherwise could. Speech normalization. When you're booking appointments, I usually have that on. It allows for saying things like dates and numbers in human-like forms, in human speech. Transcript formatting, I generally like to have this on, so phone numbers come out as phone numbers and not something else. Reminder message frequency. This is one where I like to have on, but only once in the whole call, which if the user gets distracted or is talking to somebody else, the agent will check in with them. Hey, just checking, are you still there? And I do it if there are 15 seconds of silence, but I only do it once. And then pronunciation. If you have some words that no agent gets right, like uncommon names or foreign names, you can use pronunciation. There are two standards for pronunciation. These are international standards, IPA and CMU. And you can say Ramanujan. So what is the right pronunciation, the phoneme for that word or for that name? Well, you can just ask ChatGPT, could you give me the phoneme for the word Ramanujan in the IPA standard? Simple as that, and you can get pronunciations done the right way. Moving on, call settings. Voicemail detection, this is only for outbound. You can hang up if you reach a voicemail, or you can actually leave a message as a voicemail. So let's say we do, hey, first name, bad, I couldn't reach you, we'll call later. And this will also get substituted by the variable that you're passing in. And this is particularly for outbound calls, since you know the first name of the person. Okay, end call on silence. My recommendation is that this is at 10 minutes. If there are 10 minutes of silence, then it hangs up the call. I keep this at 1 minute, and then max call duration. Our use cases really don't need more than 10 minutes. Pause before speaking is something that you want to have on, particularly if the AI initiates the call, but in our case it isn't. But it's just to prevent the AI from starting to speak before the user can listen. So if you do have that first message, you might want to leave a 2-3 second pause before the agent starts speaking. And then ring duration, 30 seconds is fine, which is how long should it ring for before it decides to hang up if there is no answer. That's call settings. Post-call analysis. This I'm gonna show you along with webhook settings, which is amazing potential, in just a second. Because first I wanna show you the fallback settings. If you're working with HIPAA compliant data, you can opt out of sensitive data storage. You can use opt-in secure URLs, which expire after 24 hours. If you have an agent or a recording that you want to share, it can also, you can make it expired after 24 hours. The fallback voice ID, this is really important, is, hey, if 11 Labs fails for some reason, please use this voice instead. And let's say I go with, great, Nova, let's go. So then Nova is gonna take over if 11 Labs fails. Then default dynamic variables. You know how I was showing you in this test LLM, how it kept saying like, first name or company name instead of my, the actual name. So I can fill in those default values for testing right here in the dashboard, which is super nifty. So our name Alejo, and then role is gonna be CEO. Bam. So now when I continue this conversation, hey. Hi there, thanks for calling Amplify Voice. I'm Saya, who am I speaking with? So it doesn't do that thing anymore where it just said the name of the variable, which is super annoying. And when you're testing, it's just annoying to have an extra server taking care of that. See how it did the knowledge base retrieval? This is not really important at this point. It's important later in the conversation, but it just not as tuned on how and when to use the knowledge base. So you'll have your challenges. External knowledge bases are recommended. And if you're interested in learning external knowledge bases, you can come to the community and ask a question and we'll be happy to help. Let's move on because these last two go in tandem: post-call analysis and webhook settings. I want to send information after the call is done. For example, right there, was the appointment booked? And we're going to write true if appointment was successfully booked, false otherwise. Okay. Great, wonderful. That's a yes, no. But what if we wanted something different? What if we wanted to choose between a certain amount of options? Like they booked for today, they booked for tomorrow, they booked for next week, right? Those are different options that the LLM can choose from. A number, like an amount, and then text. For example, date, time of booking. This may be empty if there was no booking. And I can say, this is the type of format you should follow every single time that you share this information. So Monday, April 14th at, let's say, 15 hours Eastern. Bam. So and I can give it some other examples so it's more accurate, but this is the format that I want, so this is the format that I ask for. But if you call your agent, there's nowhere that this data goes. That's where the webhook comes in. And this is the beauty of webhooks, that when the call ends, I'll receive this data and I can do whatever I want with it, with Make or with N8N. You can decide to put it in a CRM, to keep it in a Google Sheet, to give it to an AI agent to create a follow-up email or follow-up text. For now, and for most use cases, we're gonna use a Google Sheet to store that data. So we are going to keep this simple and sweet. We're just gonna transfer that data to our Google Sheet. So we want to transfer the call time, was the appointment booked, and the date time of booking. Of course, you would add the first name and all that stuff, which you can just add as many variables as you want. For example, name of caller. Let's say first name of caller. Cool. So we can go to the Google Sheets, we create a new column, first name. First, we're going to do this with make.com, and then we're going to do it with N8N. So we're gonna start a new scenario, click on webhook, custom webhook, and we're just gonna call it test for now. I do recommend you do more expressive names. So we're gonna copy address to clipboard, but we're also gonna hit stop because we don't actually want this to be triggered until the very end of the call, okay? Retell is gonna send information to this webhook when the call starts and when the call ends. So we're gonna start the call. We're gonna have a very short conversation with Saya real quick.
Hi there. Thanks for reaching out to Amplify Voice. I'm Saya. What's on your mind?
Okay, so and after a couple interactions, there's gonna be actually an analysis to make, and then it's gonna send that call analysis.
Exactly. Our voice AI agents can analyze
So I'm gonna end the call and hit on redetermine data structure. Okay, see how it says successfully determined? I can save this now and use that data in future scenarios, in future modules. So I'm gonna add a row to my Google Sheets. I'm gonna choose the name, which I named it Retell Tutorial. Sheet name is just gonna be the first one, and I'm gonna be able to see all of these pieces of data. That is what I got from the webhook. The call ID, the call type, agent, all of this data you can pass on to your CRM or your Google Sheets or wherever you want to keep it. So I'm gonna choose start timestamp. I'm gonna choose I think I go to call analysis and custom analysis, and then I go first name of caller, appointment booked, date time of booking, bam. So now when I hit save and when I do another call, it's gonna add all that data. Keep in mind, there's one more step. We need to add a filter that filters out everything that isn't the call analysis. So here the condition is that the event is call analyzed. You're gonna get 3 types of events: call started, call ended, and call analyzed. Call analyzed, yeah, cool. And I'm gonna save this, and then I should be able to send another request, and you'll see it in action. And then it should trigger this to actually insert the information.
There, it seems like you might be testing something.
Cool. So let's see if it received it. It should be skipping everything else and just letting the call analyzed get through. So if I check this, then it has the call time, which we can reformat, and I can very quickly show you how. First name, I didn't give it my first name. Date time of booking, there was no booking, and appointment book is false. So how do you format this weird time date thing that is just a bunch of numbers? Well, you use this format date, and then you give it this code, which is days, months, year, and then hour and minute. And that's pretty much all you need to format that date. So now you can see the time well formatted, 15/04/2025 at this time. Beautiful. Now let's do the same thing with N8N. The same style, a webhook. Change this HTTP mode to post instead of get. We just need to copy the production URL, not the test URL, production URL. Copy and paste where the other webhook was. Okay, so we have this new webhook locked in. We're gonna call the agent, and we don't actually need to do that thing where we're waiting for the right webhook, not the call start, because N8N just handles that on its own, and I'm gonna show you how it does that. Hey, how's it going?
Hi there. Thanks for reaching out to Amplify Voice.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I'm Saya.
Okay, so this is gonna execute. Okay, wonderful. We received 2, right? You should see the call analyzed. Okay, perfect. Body event call analyzed. So we have the right one. We have what we want. We also have the one we don't want, which is the call ended. So how do we tell N8N which one to use? Super easy, so much easier than make. Copy to editor. Bam. So now every future module, and we just had the Google Sheets one, right? It's gonna have that data that we want. We can also adapt it to other types of data, but right now the one we care about is actually the call analyzed. So append row in sheet. So we have the Google Sheets account, we can append row. So we can choose from the list of files that we have in your Google Drive, or you can enter URL. The way you're gonna do it is with share, copy link, and you can paste it in there. Wonderful. And then in the list, you're just gonna choose sheet 1 unless you have multiple sheets. And now we can do that same thing where we say first name should be somewhere around here, and you can actually search this, which is nice. You say first name of caller, bam. See how it says custom analysis data? Okay, cool. You can just custom data and appointment booked, and then date time of booking. Call time shows up as that Unix format, which is very uncomfortable. But we can transform it right here too. And the way we're gonna say it in N8N is this is the variable, and then we're gonna say to datetime. So dot to datetime and ms because Retell shares the time in milliseconds. So You don't need to worry about all that. This is the answer that you're looking for to actually have it formatted the right way. We can test the step and we'll see another, yep, right there, fills in. It actually also gives you the time zone, which is cool. And you can reformat this however you'd like. Okay, let's move on. We just need to add the filter. So filter, and we say only let the events through that say call analyzed. Beautiful. So now we can go to the data, unpin the webhook, great. And now it's ready to receive actual calls from Retell. And then it'll just go through, same as with make.com, and add the rows to the Google Sheet. Wonderful. So as we come to a close of building a really good voice agent that can book appointments, let's do a mental check here. The role and task is clear. The specifics we've iterated on such that the voice agent can follow the instructions very well and effectively and adapt, for example, to when the book appointment has issues. Stages, so it'll follow all the way through, and the example interactions. Then we have the functions. The functions we've set up, we've tested, they're working well. We chose the voice, we chose the model, and we set up the webhook to be able to send the information after the call to our webhook. Okay, so I'm ready to deploy, right? Yes. Let's go with calling it V1, and then I'm gonna choose which phone number to set this voice agent in. And if you see, I don't have any phone numbers. So let me go buy a phone number. So I'm gonna go to phone numbers, add, I'm gonna buy a new one. I'm gonna choose some area code, and bam, I have a phone number. So I can choose the voice agent from here, or I can do it straight from the deployment page. So I'm gonna hit deploy, V1, inbound with this phone number, and then outbound with this phone number. Wonderful, deploy. And now I am able to call my voice agent to that phone number. Wait a second, what is this inbound webhook? This is another one of those opportunities that I mentioned, where you can, instead of sending information to your server, make, or anything after the call, you can tell your server, hey, I'm receiving a call. Do you know this phone number? And that's a story for another day, but that's where you can check if you've already met this person that's calling. Is it a person in my CRM? Can I pull in their name or their account status? And that's how you can do an inbound call with dynamic variables that you're getting from somebody's number when they call in. This would be a very specialized use case, but if you are interested in this, in our school community, we have conversations all the time about how to make these calls more dynamic, especially when it comes to inbound, but also outbound. And this inbound webhook is a massive opportunity. So come join us and come to build ours, and I'm happy to go through it with you. Okay, so now that we're set up, let's give our final voice agent a call. Let's see. Hello, how's it going?
Hi there. Thanks for calling Amplify Voice. I'm Sia. Who am I speaking with today?
Oh, my name is Alejo. How are you?
Nice to meet you, Alejo. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. What brought you to Amplify Voice today?
Oh, yeah. So I own a mortgage lending company, and my lenders just aren't doing very well. Our lead flow has slowed down, and leads are just going to other companies, and I'm not sure why. Figured that you guys could help me figure that out.
Thanks for sharing that, Alejo. It sounds like you're dealing with a tough situation, but it's definitely something we can help with. Our voice AI agents are great at reactivating old leads, engaging new ones, and making sure no opportunities slip through the cracks. The best next step would be a quick, no-pressure call with our CLSO named Alejo. He can walk you through how our solutions could work for your business. How does that sound?
Hey, that sounds great. Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready to go.
Awesome. Could you spell out your email address for me so I can set this up?
Yeah. It's alejo@amplifyvoice.ai.
Got it, alejo@amplifyvoice.ai. Just to confirm, is that correct?
Yeah.
Perfect. What date, time, and time zone work best for your call with Alejo?
Can we do soon, like tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern?
Let me check if that time is available for Alejo. You're all set. Your call with Alejo is scheduled for tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. You'll receive a confirmation email shortly. Anything else I can help you with?
No, that's all. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. We're excited to show you how voice AI can transform your business. Alejo is looking forward to speaking with you tomorrow.
So, see how we pronounce certain words a little bit weirdly? That's an opportunity for pronunciations like the word Saya or Amplify Voice or CEO. So, there's always room for improvement. The important part is that we got to that 80%. And now it's your turn. I'm going to export this agent that you'll have direct access to it by just getting it in from the school community in the link below. Remember, there's a free trial. And once you downloaded it, import, choose, and then bam, your inbound appointment setter. It's all yours. Please take it, use it wisely, and remember that this is just the start of your journey. And I would absolutely love to continue being part of that journey with you. So I want to invite you to become part of our school community where we're always evolving, always taking risks and learning something new. So I'm excited to see you there. And if you have any questions, please comment them below or join the school community and we're happy to help. If I leave you with one thing, it's the assurance that sure, models will get better and voices will sound more realistic. And it's your skills that will make it so you can deliver amazing products for clients. So as you continue to work on your skills, remember to never stop prompting.